So, Harry, have you ever been hacked?
Okay. Yeah, kinda.
Oh dear, what happened?
Back in my teenage years, at one point, my parents, in the middle of summer, they went away on holiday and left me behind and said...
Sounds tragic.
Yeah, it's a classic Harry tale. And they said,
Old were you, 9?
don't you have any parties or anything? No, I'd be about 17 or 18 at this
Oh,
point.
that's fine. That's reasonable.
Yeah, it wasn't a fully Home Alone situation.
Okay,
It was like, you're a teenager in the house by yourself, don't have any parties. What? Okay, I'll have a party then, sure. And so I did, and I invited all my friends around, and we had a house party, and it got a lot out of hand.
Oh, what a surprise.
A lot of things got broken in and out of the house, and a lot of things that were in the house got taken outside the house for whatever reasons, bits of furniture and stuff.
God, how many people were there?
I don't know, maybe only like 10 or something. It wasn't a lot.
I thought you were in the nerdy maths group. How did you get so destructive all of a sudden?
I was in both. It was weird. I was in the nerdy group, but I was also in the popular group.
Oh, let me guess. You were in the nerdy group until it became clear that you had a house that was good for parties, in which case you were suddenly everyone's best friend. Okay.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
We had a little bonfire in a metal bin that we had. For whatever reason, we brought all the mattresses in the house down to the living room and had a big slumber party. People were quite drunk, so there was a bit of vomit here and there. All of this got well documented on Facebook. I mean, idiotically, by me.
You just put all the evidence out there on the internet.
Yeah, basically tagging things like, this is broken, there's vomit here as well. But my mum's not on Facebook, but my dad is, and I blocked him from all the photos, so he couldn't see that they were there. Okay. He didn't know that they were there. And I felt so smart about it. I was like, I've done this. I've shown off to all my friends, and my parents are never going to know. But unfortunately, I left my Facebook logged in on...
Dear.
I mean, it wasn't the family computer. It was my computer.
Sure.
And Dad went and snooped and found it all. I'd say that's the closest I've been to being hacked.
Okay, this is not as much hack just as having a dad who does not respect your privacy.
Basically.
Combined with very stupid, very, very stupid attempts at hiding. I mean, they must have known from all the broken stuff, right?
Well, I fixed and hid various things. Okay. I have no idea how that gate post broke. It's quite old. It must just be rotten.
Okay.
Some films are fine just the way they are. Other films sometimes take it way too far. But really, how bad could it get? Let's go beyond the box set.
Welcome back, everybody, to Beyond the Box Set, the podcast where today we are pitching prequels, sequels, and spin-offs to hackers. We'll also be pitching some drinking games and hearing other sequel pitches from our Twitter followers. But first, we're going to talk about some of our favourite moments from the original movie and catch you up with a bit of a plot summary. I'm Harry, the host with the most online secrets for hackers to exploit.
Oh dear, I dread to think.
Wouldn't you like to know? And joining me, as always, the host with the most outrageous username, it's Lucasade.
I've not used that since 1993. Give me a break.
So, John, what did you think of what I would describe as the most 90s film to ever exist?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, absolutely. Well, you picked it.
Yeah.
So tell me why first.
Well, then because of last week.
You did
the net, and I thought I may as well do Hackers. I had no idea what this film was. I just had heard of a film called Hackers.
Sure.
And looking it up, it looks like a bit of 90s garbage.
Yeah.
And boy.
It certainly delivered it. I'm really glad we did them in this order, the net first and then Hackers, because I feel like the net was dipping our toes into some quite funny but fairly standard, schlocky 90s action with a bit of a hook on the internet, or what they thought the internet was going to be. Whereas this is just full of immersion. This is just wild.
Yeah.
It's completely nuts. I enjoyed this film a great deal.
Me too, absolutely. I enjoyed almost every second of it. I couldn't tell you the slightest bit of what is going on. So I'm sorry, this plot summary is going to have to come from you, and I will try and pitch it.
I'll do my best, but I mean, it was rough for me too.
It's such a strange film because there's so much going on, so much happening, but at the same time, nothing.
I think it's just that the tone of the film is very coked up and wild, and it's just, you know what I mean? It's not a drug movie, but it feels like a drug movie because it's all all the music's it's all 90s rave and You know, the soundtrack's just banging from start to finish, and people just jumping from one thing to the next, and it's all very hyper real, and
It was reminding me of Trainspotting in some ways.
very much so. Yeah,
Yeah, I think the music, but yeah.
definitely, and also because the main guy Jonny Lee Miller is also in Trainspotting.
He is.
He played Spud. Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
So that might have also been why that fired some neurons in your brain. But
Maybe, yeah.
But yes, no, I think it's a lot going on. Very little of it makes any sense. And when you do dig into the plot, it's quite convoluted.
Yeah.
So, but we'll see what we can do.
Yeah. I would normally try and start, but I honestly don't even remember how this film starts because it's just all a colourful blur.
Were you just like at the end of this film, just like sat on the sofa, just kind of like completely drained, just like, well, that happened. Like, okay, I'll give it a go.
The defendant, Dade Murphy, who calls himself Zero Cool, has repeatedly committed criminal acts of a malicious nature. This defendant possesses a superior intelligence, which he uses to a destructive and antisocial end. His computer virus crashed 1,507 systems, including Wall Street trading systems, single-handedly causing a 7-point drop in the New York stock market.
Dade Murphy, I hereby fine your family $45,000 and sentence you to probation, under which you are forbidden to own or operate a computer or touch-tone telephone until the day of your 18th birthday.
So, Hackers released in 1995?
The same year as The Net.
So that's it, because it was the same year as The Net, yes. It was a big year for internet movies. So it stars Jonny Lee Miller as a character called Dade. Like, what kind of a name is Dade?
Gade.
No, not Gade. Dade. Dade. That's his real name.
I mean, his usernames are more normal.
That's what I mean. He's got these. Everyone's got a username, like a handle in this film. So his handle is Zero Cool.
You had one as a young boy, though, didn't he?
Sorry.
Didn't he have another one like
Yes.
Acid Burn or something?
Acid Burn. Yeah. So when he's a kid, he's Zero Cool.
Right.
And that's the name he becomes famous for, because at the beginning of this movie, Zero Cool is 8, 10, 11 years old.
Something, yeah.
It's like again, since the 80s, he must have been one of the very first hackers like ever.
Yeah.
The timing of this is very strange. So in the late 80s, an 11-year-old boy whose hacker name is Zero Cool is arrested very aggressively by like a SWAT team.
Yep.
Burst into his nice little green lawn suburban home.
So many great SWAT team scenes in this.
Oh, I know, yeah. The FBI have really taken it to 11 in this movie.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this SWAT team bursts into this like white picket fence's American house and forcibly arrest this 11-year-old boy who has hacked into, I think, the New York Stock Exchange and caused it to
something like that. And this bit is bizarrely vague. Because it's just like, oh yeah, he crashed loads of computers, and so now we're going to arrest him. Like, I don't get the stakes of this.
No, well, again, because everything happens so rapidly, it doesn't really dwell on how an 11-year-old boy has these skills and what the ramifications are.
I kind of get some of the stakes later on in the film, but this right away, I'm like, okay, so I'm just going to assume that he's really, really good, but the film's not quite telling me this.
Yeah, well, this is the other thing. This film treats hacking like it's a magical power.
Oh yeah,
like in the Net.
This is exactly what I wanted from both of these.
Sure,
just
yeah.
Films that have no idea what hacking actually is.
No, exactly, yeah.
Because I don't have an idea, but I know that this is wrong.
Yeah, well, exactly. Like,
And that makes it all the more entertaining.
Yeah, as stupid as the Net was, you could certainly buy that Sandra Bullock had had training.
Yeah,
she was a professional who had learned how to be a coder. She's not even she's a coder.
They talk about like having an internet connection at times and running programs and stuff like that. This one is nothing. It's just somebody typing at a keyboard, sometimes spinning in a circle where mathematical equations fly over the screen.
And they just enter the Matrix.
Yeah.
It is. It's like they've got this
it's like the Matrix versus Tron.
It really is. It treats these kids like the only difference between them and regular kids is that they're like the kids in Harry Potter. They've received their wizarding wand and they're called to Hogwarts. But in this film, it's just like, oh, they can just get into the internet. Because this kid, it doesn't tell us how or why, but at the age of 11, he manages to hack into the internet, crash Wall Street. He gets sent to court. He gets sent down. He's to juvenile hall, I guess. He's banned from owning a computer or a telephone until he's 18 years old.
Which seemingly is not placed at
No,
all.
not pleased at all. No, they're just like, well, but his parents do get fined $45,000, which I guess is a bit of a incentive for them to, make sure he doesn't get on the internet again.
But like, all they do is they give him a computer, they give him a phone, and tell him, don't plug your phone into your computer, which is how internet worked.
Well, he served his time. Now we've skipped forward 7 years,
Yeah, but he's still doing it.
No, he is still doing it,
Yeah.
Yeah. But again, if he does spend these 7 years, the film doesn't tell us, if he spends these 7 years not even looking at a computer because he's not legally allowed to, and yet technology obviously hasn't moved on at all, he's still like the top hacker in the world, which is what, again, it's like it's a magic power. It's nothing to do with actually...
Because also it's never explained how he's good at computers.
No, that's what I mean,
Like, he's 9. So is he the best person in the world at computers, but he's 9? We're not going to talk about that at all.
That's what I mean. It doesn't explain it. It's just magic.
Yeah.
It's just magic.
Yeah.
So we revisit Dade.
I mean, I think a lot of this podcast we're about to do is going to be a lot of complaining about the film, but I wouldn't change a thing.
Yeah, I mean, we did the same with the net. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very much the same vibe. Yeah. So we catch up with Dade again at the age of 18-ish. He's now Jonny Lee Miller. And he is back on the computer circuit, clearly. He's still hacking, and we catch him as he's hacking into a local TV station and replacing some right-wing blowhard he's like replacing him on the airwaves with an episode of The Outer Limits, I think it is. So he's just, garden variety mischief, I guess.
Is this how TV networks worked in the mid-90s?
Oh, surely not, no.
Where it was a robot feeding VHSs into a machine.
Oh yeah, it was like it was like this TV station was run like a snack machine.
Yeah.
It's got the robot arm that just kind of goes picks the right one. No.
Yeah.
No, the complete lack of human agency in this brave new world of computers, which again was the exact same as the net. It's like, oh, we can't stop it because it's all computers. There's no humans doing anything. So it's very much that vibe. I did think this film did a good job of capturing the kind of naiveness of people who don't understand computers, especially at that time when computers were very much a new thing. Because I did enjoy the scene when it shows how he hacks into the TV station, because he calls up the station and speaks to a security guard and says, "Oh look, I'm working for the company. Just read out that number on your modem for me, please." And the guy's like, "Okay, sure, I don't understand." And then through that he gets it. I'm sure that's not how you can hack into a computer mainframe, but even so, I liked this idea that like most people don't really know about computers, and he manipulates that.
I mean, my favorite bit early on, which I'm sure we were going to talk about anyway, those passwords. So it's initially said, I forget how it's actually brought up, that like the 4 most commonly used passwords are love, sex, I forgot one of them,
God,
and God.
Yeah.
I think those 3 are the top 3. They did mention the top 4 or something, but I just love that sort of the throwback to the 90s when like, oh, you can just have a 3-letter password and that's it. And
I can't believe that anyone's...
And also, the most commonly used password is not password.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I would imagine that would be the most common password from day one.
Surely. I can't imagine love was. Of all the first people who were logging onto the internet were, let's face it, mostly nerds.
Yeah.
They're not going to go, oh, what's the password going to be? Oh, I can imagine it being sex. Like,
sure.
sex.
Yeah.
But love?
No.
Come on.
Not
no.
happening.
Not
and God? Like, really?
Maybe I know I don't see it. No, I think password would have obviously been the one. But also, it was funny that all of them have their own little handles. And there's a whole subplot where the boyish one, Joey, he's like, I need to get myself a handle. I don't have a handle. The ones have all got their hacker handles. It's like, again, it's this pre-Twitter, pre-Facebook kind of time when all these very generic kind of names, like,
they were all available.
They're all available. It's not like what's his second password? What's his second handle? Jonny Miller's
Acid Burn.
Yeah, it's not like Acid Burn 7654321.
Yeah.
Epsilon exclamation mark.
Yeah.
Apostrophe. It's just they're all out there for the taking because nobody's on the internet. So he's merrily hacking his way through this TV station when he accidentally treads on the turf of a mysterious second hacker known as is she Acid Burn?
Oh, maybe. Oh.
Yeah, there is another one that Jonny Lee Miller has, but I think, this is Angelina Jolie, but we don't know that yet. But he wanders into the arena of this second hacker who kind of warns him to stay away, and they trade some insults. It's like fight with the best and die like the rest, all this kind of very try-hardy, internet throwdown language. He gets into a little tete-a-tete with this mysterious figure who we don't know who it is yet. And then we meet him. He's just moved to New York, Jonny Lee Miller. He's just moved to New York with his mom. I think his parents are supposed to have separated. And so he's very unhappy to be in this new environment. And he's at a new high school and he's enrolling and he meets a very sexy fellow student named Kate, who is played by Angelina Jolie.
Yeah.
In her second ever film role. The first was
Really?
some very forgettable film called, I think it was Cyborg 2 or something. Like, it was nothing. This is obviously the first significant thing she ever did. Yeah. This is a very distractingly young Angelina Jolie.
Yeah.
With a haircut that makes her look like a Romulan.
Yeah. Yeah.
It really did. Yeah. I mean, she looked great, but I was just like, oh, that's a very Star Trek-y haircut you're rocking there,
Which
Angelina.
is kind of what I was mentioning at the end of last week, like comparing her to Sandra Bullock from last week's film. 'Cause Sandra Bullock looked like a supermodel, whereas Angelina Jolie in this, she looks like your kind of computer nerd sort of.
Well, I guess this film is making hackers sexy in a way.
Yeah.
It's saying that they're these cool counterculture kind of young punks. So yeah, and you get a young Angelina Jolie with a crazy haircut. Sure. Whereas Sandra Bullock was being like portrayed as like this sad sack shut-in. So I guess it's showing two very different sides of the internet. Yeah. So yeah, this in this world, the internet is going to become super cool, which I guess to some degree, I don't know. But yes, so she's actually also the mysterious hacker he's met earlier, but he doesn't know that yet. He instantly falls in love with her. It's like, oh, she's so sexy. But she treats him with complete disdain. She's got no time for him. Also, she has a boyfriend, so she's not that bothered. But he does manage to meet and fall in with like a band of fellow hackers, like professional hackers, who make up our colourful supporting cast. So there is a serial killer, who's played by Matthew Lillard.
Yes.
From most famous from Scooby-Doo and American Pie.
I'd say he's
Scream.
He's the standout of this film for me.
Yes, he's the most annoying. But
Well, there is that, yes.
yeah, but he's certainly memorable.
Yeah.
It really distracted me when I realized, oh wow, he's so much older than I think I always think of him as still being, even though it's ridiculous because those films are like 20, 30 years old.
Yeah.
I still think of him as being like kind of a teenager because that's all the roles he ever played. I don't know what he's doing now. But like when I was like, oh my God, he's in the same film as Angelina Jolie and he looks older.
Yeah.
Because she's like had a whole life, she's had like 9 kids and she's done loads of different things. And I was like, oh wow, he's really old. And then I looked up, he's 51. He's like, older than Angelina Jolie is.
Right,
so, yeah. So,
yeah, because I still just think of him as like stuff from...
Like Stifler.
Yeah, this, that, and I guess Scooby-Doo when he'd be, I guess, like 10 years older or something. But,
sure, yeah.
Yeah, and he's just still kind of a stoner teen sort of character.
Yeah. Some people, I guess some actors just get frozen in time because they're so...
Yeah.
If you always
and given I've not seen him in anything...
That's what I mean.
That's
what I mean. I'm sure, I've not really seen any of his recent work, so I have no idea what he does. But yeah, so that's him. He's got the... I mean, he's doing a lot. He's certainly chewing all of the scenery. Have you ever seen a Matthew... I think that's what he does. He comes into movies and he chews up all the scenery.
Oh, yeah.
Like that's his whole shtick. And if you've seen him in Scream or in American Pie, it's very much that. Except in this, he's dressed in the craziest clothes and wigs. Like,
yeah, his hair was so bad.
His hair is so bizarre. Yeah, I did kind of like the gender ambiguous way they dressed him in this. So that was really interesting. 'Cause some of the other characters are like that as well. It was really like at times he seems to be wearing a sarong.
Yeah.
It was odd, but I thought it was kind of cool. So there's him. There is Joey, who's the younger looking one who doesn't have a handle yet, and he's kind of the nerd of the group, and the others kind of pick on him a little bit. And he's trying to like prove himself that he's just as good of a hacker. He wants to be elite as well. There's all this talk about elite hackers and who's elite and who's not elite, and he's definitely not elite, but he wants to be elite.
Yeah.
And there's also the Phantom Freak, who is this like Puerto Rican guy. Who's kind of. Did you recognize where we've seen him recently?
No.
He is the same actor who played the deeply offensive gay stereotype in Con Air. Remember?
Vaguely.
Wow, these films really come and go for you. That was like a month ago we did Con Air. The one who was like super feminine and all the other characters.
Yeah,
like,
I remember
Nick Cage slaps aggressively.
Yeah. Nicolas Cage. Yeah. No, I remember the characters, and I was trying to remember like what they looked like.
Yeah.
Or anything. Sure, whatever.
Yeah, that was him. Just there you go. Yeah. So yeah, they become his kind of gang, I guess. They're our main set. And Jonny Lee Miller and Angelina Jolie, they very quickly established this kind of rivalry because he turns up at her favorite nightclub or possible skate park. Everyone's skating in this film all the time.
Yeah, there's a lot of
constantly. So I couldn't tell if this
that nightclub looked amazing, but also very scary.
Very stressful, yeah.
Yeah.
If I'm having a few beers, I don't have to dodge people
No.
like doing rollerblading tricks around me. No.
It was like if the Lost Boys from Hook opened a nightclub.
It was, yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was kind of mixed between a nightclub and a skate park and also a video game arcade. It was all those things at once.
Yeah.
So he turns up at her favorite nightclub and he beats her high score on her favorite game. And she's like, oh, so angry, so angry. No one's ever beaten her before. It's like unheard of.
It doesn't make it look difficult.
No, not at all. It seems like he has a really brief run at this game. But I don't know.
He plays it once for like 2 minutes and he's beaten a high score. Like,
Well, he's that good, you think?
or was she actually quite bad? And
Yeah,
nobody,
maybe else was-
nobody else is interested in it.
Maybe else was deliberately like losing to her to make her as their way of flirting, and he tries the other way and just like destroys her. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
But she's not interested. She still has this boyfriend. But this kind of rivalry gets set up. Meanwhile, Joey, the little one, he's trying to prove his worth and get into the elite leagues by hacking into a big corporation's supercomputer.
Yeah.
To download a file that he's going to use as like a trophy to prove he got into this like hyper secure system. So he chooses a company, he hacks in. We get this very 90s kind of hacking kind of, it's all lots of green bars and wandering around.
I
This.
loved all the visuals.
Yeah.
They were constantly entertaining.
Every file's like a little green skyscraper in a little virtual city kind of thing. It's so bizarre. But he hacks in and he tries to download a.
But that wasn't like just for us, because when we see from the company's point of view, it's like, there's the main villain and there's Penn Jillette and they're sat at the desk together, and on the screen they're looking at that. Like that is their file system. That is actually their file system.
That's what I mean. Yeah, it's this ridiculous visualization of what the internet's going to look like. Like in reality, it'd just be like a load of lines of code, but that wouldn't be very interesting to visualize in a movie. So they have to make it look really cool and cyber. So he hacks in and he downloads this garbage file. They say that phrase a lot in this film, garbage file.
Yeah.
But what he accidentally downloads is a hidden virus that the company's villainous IT manager, a guy played by not Gary Oldman, very much a not Gary Oldman. It's, the actor's name is Fisher Stevens. He's been in other things. He was in Short Circuit, but yeah. For the purposes of this, he's not Gary Oldman. He's like the IT manager for this company, and he's known as the Plague. He's even known as the Plague to the people who work with him. That's the thing. It's not like his alter ego.
I love this because like somebody's calling him by his name. Like, no, I'm the Plague.
Yeah.
Okay, excuse me, Mr. the Plague.
Yeah.
Could we?
Yeah, it was amazing. I love the idea that like at some company the IT manager is called the Plague.
Yeah.
And like no one's gonna suspect him when things
I
go
don't
wrong.
even think he's the IT manager.
Is he not?
I got that he was like the chairman or something.
No, I don't think he's particularly high up. I think
Is he not?
I think he works in the IT department. That's how
Right,
he's.
sure, okay.
Because why would he want to steal from his own company if it was his own company?
Okay, yeah. Yeah. See, this is the kind of stuff that just went over my head.
I mean, yeah, a lot of this is done in very broad strokes. It took me a while to piece all this back together. I had to spend a bit of time like rewatching the film and like reading the Wikipedia to kind of piece together what I saw. So this is just don't by any means think that I got all this on one watch, because I did not.
Mr. Belford?
My name is the Plague.
Mr. the Plague, something weird's happening on the net.
As in what, you hapless techno-weenie?
The accounting subdirector in the Gibson's working really hard. We got one person online, and the workload is enough for like 10 users. I think we got a hacker.
Yeah, so Joey stumbles onto this evil scheme, that this virus that has been implemented into the system that hasn't been unleashed yet. But it's been inserted so that Fisher Stevens and his partner in crime can steal like 25 million, I think it is, from the $25 million or some big number like that from the company. And their plan is quite quaint, actually. Their plan is to steal that money because it's obviously a multi-billion-dollar company. They're just going to steal like a little bit of money from every single customer.
Yeah.
Just a teeny bit from every customer. So kind of a victimless crime, really.
Well, kind of. I've always thought this. Like, what if everybody in the world just gave me 1p?
Yeah.
Like, I'd be rich and nobody would care. So why don't we all just do that? But then,
Why you? Yeah.
But then, like, if everybody did that, we'd all have the same amount of money. And,
Yes.
Yeah.
What you're describing there is communism.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the Plague is, because he's a hacker himself, he's in the system when Joey, this little kid, accidentally stumbles upon the virus. So the Plague knows immediately that he has been compromised. His plan has been compromised.
Yeah.
So he decides to frame the hackers as a cover for his own crime.
Right, sure.
So and this is when it gets super complicated. So he at some point inserts a second virus to kind of hide his virus.
Okay.
And the second virus is known as, again, I did not get all this on first watch. I had to really piece this together. The second virus is called the Da Vinci virus. And this takes control. This company does something with cargo ships on like the ocean.
Oil tankers.
Oil tankers, yeah. It's an oil company, I guess.
Yeah.
And so this virus hacks into the oil tankers and makes all of their tanks overload. So it's like causing oil spills on the ocean.
Yeah. So I didn't really understand what was going to happen in this. And this film's quite low budget. So they managed to get some stock video of like oil tankers or just some vague ships in the sea just sailing about. But then like later on, well, near the end of the climax, when everything's fixed itself, they're like, the boats are uncapsizing now. And I was like, whoa, the boats were capsizing? Why
they never show
that?
us.
And they show a diagram, and it's just all the oil, all the cargo has just been moved to the left side of each of the ships so that the ship's just overbalanced like that. Like, that's not a thing.
No, not at all. No.
It's certainly not automatically.
No, that's something, yeah, it's one of those things where like, oh, if the computers, they even have this conversation in the film, someone says, well, why can't we manually fix it? They go, there's no such thing as manually fixing it anymore. This is the internet. Like it's that ridiculous. Like they can't just manually turn the cargo ships back to the way they were. They have to like if it's hacked, it's hacked. That's it.
It's stuff like this that this is why people thought Y2K was going to be a thing.
Exactly. Yeah. Stuff like this put the fear of God into people.
Yeah. And it's really entertaining.
It is.
It's really entertaining to look back on.
I also love that the Da Vinci virus is like personified by an actual like
a person.
Crappy CGI of Leonardo da Vinci saying random things like "You have been hacked." Like, like why'd you program it with a voice?
Yeah,
what does that do?
Yeah, and then like that voice, like it says other things later on, like when it's being hacked or whatever. It's like no, and
it says help me. Like who programmed it to say help me? What the fuck is that?
But also like it's clearly an actor saying those things because it doesn't look like it's CGI or something.
Oh,
it's
yeah,
just
nothing looks like actual CGI.
Yeah, so it's just so they got an actor to go and say all those words and stuff. It's I don't know. Either that, or they've just developed a very, very good AI.
Yeah. Very advanced.
Yeah, very advanced for like mid-90s. I mean,
it tickled me anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, he unleashes this second virus, the Da Vinci virus, which is causing all this chaos with the cargo oil tankers and stuff, causing all these oil spills, or threatening to. And he paints it so that this is a group of hackers who have hacked into his system, who are trying to blackmail the company into like paying them millions of dollars. Otherwise, they will hack into the cargo ships and cause these oil spills, basically.
Yeah.
So then he gets the Secret Service, the FBI, to hunt down the hackers. So now the FBI are after the hackers. So that he's created like a whole smoke screen, and his evil scheme is still undiscovered. His much more low level evil scheme of just stealing all this money.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what's happening there. So the FBI are called in. And little Joey is immediately like, again, in a massive SWAT team scene. He's just in the shower. Suddenly there's like machine guns, people just jumping through the window. Like, he gets dragged kicking and screaming out of his house. But just before he is arrested, he does manage, in the classic tradition of all 90s internet-based movies, he manages to hide a floppy disk containing all the incriminating evidence.
Yep.
So he's gone to
I like
prison.
that he hides his floppy disk just like in the aircon vent in his ceiling.
Yeah.
The FBI would have looked there.
Yeah, the FBI do make no attempt to search his house for evidence. They're just like, all right, we've got you, that's enough.
Yeah, like that would be the first place that you'd look for something. You'd just do a quick check, like, this kid, he's just, he's a hacker. Let's make sure he's not hidden anything, because they're taking out his computer and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Like, okay, let's just have a quick look around for any sort of disk or anything. Where, if I was a boy, where would I hide something? Like, okay, in my bed, above my bed, something like that.
Yeah. I mean, these secret agents don't seem like they're at the top of their game in this movie.
Not
they're
at all.
Pretty useless.
No. So many guns.
So many,
for like trying to pick up people who they do not expect to be armed.
Exactly.
They're expecting young boys. Yeah. And they're not expecting young boys with guns, and they're going in with like a full SWAT team worth of guns.
To be honest, I think this is genuinely what America's like, so I could kind of deal with that, but yes, it's ridiculous. So Joey's arrested, and the rest of the hackers, as kind of revenge to kind of get justice for him in some way, they decide to start torturing the main FBI officer. So Angelina Jolie and Jonny Lee Miller, they place a bet about who can do the best hacking. They're testing their hacking skills, find the best ways to like mess with the FBI guy, the main FBI guy, who's played by Wendell Pierce. Yeah. So they do all these kind of pranks where they get all his credit cards declined. They give him a criminal record, so he gets arrested. He gets like arrested, pulled over on the street in the middle of a date, and all this kind of stuff. So they're just like messing around with him. Yeah. And that goes on for some time. And at some point, the FBI and the Plague, they learn about Jonny Lee Miller's past as like a child hacking extraordinaire. So they try to intimidate him into kind of selling out all his friends.
Yeah.
He wants him to like give evidence and track down, because they know there's a floppy disk missing. They just can't find it. And it doesn't occur to them to just say it to the boy's house. But he kind of initially refuses to help them. Obviously, he tries to stay out of it.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, like Angelina Jolie and the rest of the gang, they get a hold of the floppy disk and they ask Jonny Lee Miller to help them. And he's like, no, I can't get involved. I'm on probation, all this kind of stuff. But they beg and beg. And eventually he agrees to copy the floppy disk for them. So they've got a second copy just in case anything goes wrong. So then the Plague kind of gets in touch with Jonny Lee Miller again and asks him to join him. And he's like, no, I'm not joining you. And then he threatens his mum. He's like, well, if you don't join me, I'm going to hack into... He's essentially going to do to Jonny Lee Miller's mum what the villain in The Net does to Sandra Bullock. Just like change all her identity and make her disappear.
Yeah, basically.
Basically the exact
Give her a
same.
criminal record and then they get her arrested and then make her disappear.
Yeah.
She's stuck in jail forever.
Yeah, again, it's like if she gets arrested, they'll never be able to get her out again. She'll just be trapped in the system forever because there's no manual checks in this world.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So he... In order to protect his mum, he gives Fisher Stevens the Plague. He gives him the original floppy disk, but obviously doesn't tell him that there's a second disk that they also have. So, yeah, I did love this shot. Again, all the skateboarding just cracked me up because it's not even like it's just the kids skateboarding. It's like middle-aged men are skateboarding everywhere. So like Jonny Lee Miller just walks onto the street and Fisher Stevens just kind of like just out of nowhere just kind of skates into the shot. Grabs the floppy disk without missing a beat and just skates back out again.
Yeah.
So what in one smooth motion.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yep. Why was he on a skateboard? The man's 40.
Exactly. I don't know. I would have loved to be like tripped.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a lot of outtakes in which I'm not sure how good of a skateboarder Fisher Stevens is, but I would love to see the outtakes.
Yeah.
So at some point after all this has happened, the gang figure out the Plague's evil villainous scheme. I think they kind of go through the floppy disk and like, oh my God, this is what they're doing. It's all a cover. And so then there's like a very bizarre heist scene where they try and get more information. So Matthew Lillard and the other guy whose name I forget, they go down into the sewers and then they somehow manage to get into the FBI office. And I don't know if the shots is trying to imply that they get in underneath the receptionist's desk from the sewer. Because in one shot, Matthew Lillard kind of jumps into a sewer, and the next he literally jumps out from underneath a woman's desk, like in between her legs, and goes, "Oh, sorry, it's fixed now."
Yeah.
And then he kind of wanders off with his builder's bum, and it's just very strange.
I never got it.
Well, what he was doing was bugging the desk.
Sure.
Because that was the FBI agent's secretary, so they could figure out, stay one step ahead of them.
And maybe he just they got in somewhere else, and then it cuts to the next scene. He's just bugging her desk.
Yeah.
While she's working there, and she's not very good at giving personal space.
Yeah. I didn't understand it at all.
No.
Odd, but
It
whatever.
made it look like the way that he came up. It made it look like he was giving her oral sex.
Yes, absolutely.
It
Yeah,
was
exactly.
very strange.
Yeah, she has no reaction whatsoever.
No.
Not like she doesn't scream. She's just kind of like, oh, okay. Like,
Yeah.
she doesn't even acknowledge him. It's really weird.
It's not even like it's a disappointment that he's stopped or he's
Yeah.
not doing that or anything. It's just okay.
Yeah, it's really, really odd. So yeah, they figure out that the FBI are planning to arrest all of them in 24 hours. Like they've got until the next morning, and then they're all going to be arrested.
Yeah.
I don't know why you decide to arrest someone. Be like, we'll do it tomorrow.
Yeah.
We'll leave it. It's late now. You know, we've all got homes to go to, but tomorrow we're arresting these fuckers. So they realize that they've only got until tomorrow morning to foil this scheme, and they team up with kind of this hacker subculture, which is led by these two gender ambiguous nightclub kids called like. They've got like very complimentary names. It's like Hack and Slash or something. Oh, Razor and Blade. Razor and Blade, yeah.
Yeah. That reminds me, actually, what was Angelina Jolie's name?
Kate. Or
No.
Acid Burn.
Acid Burn. Okay, because then his was something Crash, wasn't it?
Oh, Crash and Burn, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, it was Crash and Burn, yeah.
So what was his? It was
Oh, he was Crash Override.
Crash Override. That's it. Yeah,
Crash
yeah.
Override and
Yeah,
Acid
so
Burn.
he was Zero Cool as a kid. Yeah, then he became Crash Override, and she was
Acid Burn.
Together they were Crash and Burn.
Yeah.
Which, sure.
Yeah.
It's all right.
Works. So they kind of enlist the help of all these like hackers of the world who are led by these two random Razor and Blade types. And all the hackers in the world, they kind of unite to help them to hack into the company's system to kind of unmask the virus. So then there's a whole like, it starts with the 5 kids, I guess, and they're all kind of hacking in from telephone booths and again, I wasn't clear on what this was, but they're all using telephones to hack into the wireless or something. I don't know. They've all got laptops, whatever. And then you've got the Plague and his girlfriend, who's like a CEO at the company or something. Like she's the one who doesn't understand computers. She's that kind of. It's Lorraine Bracco from Goodfellas and The Sopranos in a very distracting blonde wig.
Yeah. Well, I think she's the one whose password is God.
Yeah.
And he's like, I told you all to change your passwords. Now look what's happened. Whose password's God?
But she's like in this one, it's so funny. She's like the embodiment of the grown up who doesn't get it, like the uncool grown up. It's so funny because she's just. I'm sure she was on set for all of 3 days because she's only in the scenes with Fisher Stevens, and it's all very random, like disconnected to the rest of the movie. But the scene where the two of them and Penn Jillette, who randomly is playing a computer programmer called Hal, they're sat in like a giant mainframe. Yeah, like it's just all like it looks like the inside of the computers when the kids are hacking into it. It's all like giant green pillars are everywhere and it's all flashing. They're in that for real. Yeah, it's like where are they supposed? Where in the world of this movie? Where are they supposed to be? Like genuinely,
the super large basement,
some kind of super large secret underground layer for these villains. Yeah. And Fisher Stevens is like hacking and he's just typing furiously and like we're gonna get them to this, and he's saying all this internet.
Oh, they're not even hacking on a keyboard. Like it's just it's a series of buttons that don't actually resemble a keyboard.
No, yeah,
it's great.
But he's doing all that, and he keeps saying things like, "Oh, they've hacked into the mainframe," and she just keeps repeating them. She keeps like just squawking out random things like "mainframe, computer, off. What are you talking about?" It was so bizarre.
Yeah, one of my favorite bits of this, which is again what I really wanted, is just people dumbing down like what turns out to just be normal computer talk.
Yeah.
Like somebody says, "Yeah, we got half an uncorrupted hard drive." Well, what's that in English, please? Tell me in English.
Yeah.
Well, what do you want? I don't know how better to explain it.
Control, Alt, and Delete. This is madness. Yeah, so they're having like a hack off with the villain and the kids are all having a hack off. And then there's like a kind of hackers around the world, Captain Planet, our powers combined. Kind of where you see this montage of hackers from every country of the world. They're all logging in at the same time, and it looks like they're going to overpower him, but then somehow the Plague gets the upper hand again. All the kids get arrested, get dragged kicking and screaming out of the Grand Central Station. And it looks like, and then we just smash cut to Lorraine Bracco and Fisher Stevens just like clinking champagne glasses and cackling in the fact that their evil scheme has worked. It's so random. So it looks like they've won. All the kids, Angelina Jolie and Jonny Lee Miller are under arrest. They're in custody. Things are looking bleak. But then at the last minute, Matthew Lillard manages to hack into the world broadcasting, like
something,
TV. He hacks into TV.
All of it.
Because every television in all of the world, it seems, is now broadcasting his face from his little basement. And he just kind of outs Fisher Stevens and Lorraine Bracco for the whole evil scheme.
Yeah.
He's like, and these two people, he gives out their names. Lorraine Bracco is watching and she screams. And he gives out the account number for the bank that they're going to be siphoning all the funds off to. So he basically completely unmasks them. And I love this shot as well. So they get the two villains get exposed. There's been a shot beforehand of them having like victory sex. Yeah. For some reason, just in some grossy looking basement.
It's
like,
so strange.
She seems pretty well off, and they're about to be $25 million richer. Yeah. Fork out for a hotel. Yeah. Celebrate properly. So then, they have victory sex, and then, but I guess the TV's on. Or maybe it's after. I don't know. But then Lorraine Bracco sits up when Matthew Lillard exposes them both, and when Matthew Lillard says her name, she screams. She's like, "No!" And then she looks to her left, and Fisher Stevens is just gone. It's like, how did he disappear like that? He just like scrambled out. It's like there's a Fisher Stevens shaped hole in the wall. Like it's just like yoinks, it's gone. And then again, maybe my favorite smash cut of the movie. So she gets arrested, she gets sent down, and then we smash cut to him on a plane to Japan, to Tokyo, wearing a fake beard and old man makeup.
This get-up was
amazing.
I loved it.
It was so good. Yeah. So he's in this insane old man makeup. He's halfway across the ocean towards Tokyo or whatever. And it looks like he's gotten away with it. And then suddenly from behind him, the FBI just kind of put their hands over and arrest him there and then. Yeah. Why in midair?
I don't know.
Why not before the plane takes off?
They would have been on the plane for hours.
That's going to be a really uncomfortable flight back. Yeah.
So yeah, they're gonna go all the way to Japan and then all the way back, presumably.
Basically, yes. I mean, does that not compromise their ability to arrest him? They're not on American soil anymore.
Yeah.
International. Is international airspace the same as international waters? I don't know. Right?
Maybe. I actually don't know, but yeah.
He could have sought asylum in Japan.
Isn't the easiest place to arrest somebody like in an airport when
Yes.
they're like, put all my luggage over there, put everything there, and just put me through the body scanner. I've got my hands behind me and everything. Like that's the time.
Why on earth would you let them take off?
Yeah.
But they do. He's arrested, and the hackers are all exonerated, and Jonny Lee Miller and Angelina Jolie finally go on a date, and they have a nice outdoor swim. Nice sexy outdoor swim.
This date was a load of bullshit too.
It was weird.
What was going on with this? So she didn't want to go on a date with him the whole time, but he was like, no. If I win, if I do the best hack or whatever,
I win a date.
which I don't think he did. Like
they say that they both ended up in a tie. Yeah,
they worked together and whatever. I don't know, but yeah. And so like he wins, so she has to go on a date with him, and she has to wear a dress, and she's got this. I don't know what to call it, but I'm not going to call it a dress. No. But she's got that ready to go, and it looks weird, but it looks like she's really put the effort in.
Sure.
And she's like put the effort in with her hair and her makeup. Like,
that's it, because she's never worn a dress before. Because she's very like a tomboy.
Yeah.
And so part of the terms of the deal is that if he wins, she has to wear a dress.
Yeah. And so like she's really put so much effort into her appearance, and like so is he as well. And then his first thing that he says is like, "So do you want to go for a swim?" And so they just go and find a swimming pool and both jump in all their clothes.
And they're both just like treading water awkwardly. It's not like it's a sexy swim kind of thing. Like you see that sometimes in movies, although actually in real life, having sex underwater isn't remotely sexy.
It's not a thing.
No. But in films, they do sometimes make that look really sexy. Underwater kiss. This is not that at all. No. It's just a very uncomfortable scene of these two very beautiful people just like awkwardly treading water while saying their lines.
Trying not to swallow water.
For a very long time. For like too long.
Yeah.
You can tell this scene probably took many shots, and they were like, we just need to get through this so we can get out of this fucking pool. I'm cold. I'm tired. Like, it was not, the chemistry was not magnetic.
No.
They got married after this film.
Did they?
Yeah, in real life, Jonny Lee Miller and Angelina Jolie were married for 3 years. So, yeah. And they met on this. So I guess there was real chemistry, even though it didn't really show.
Nice.
But there you go. So, they're having their awkward treading water swim date. And the other hackers hack into, again, this is nonsense. They hack into two skyscrapers that are next to each other and make all the lights spell out their names or something.
So why?
So it's just because that's a thing.
Yeah.
And then the credits roll, and that's the end of Hackers.
Yeah.
It's a confusing film.
Really is.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah.
But I had a good time with it. It's definitely very entertaining. It's definitely become like a cult classic. It didn't it didn't make any money at the time. It was a complete flop compared to The Net, which is like was a big hit, but nobody really talks about it anymore. This was not particularly successful, but is much more of a cult film now. So, and you can see why.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I bet this film is really entertaining if you like get really stoned or something.
I'm sure. Yeah. It's really entertaining, just like drunk and just drinking to it.
Sure, but like even more so.
I'm sure the drinking games to it are great. And speaking of,
let's move on to drinking games. Yeah.
So, first one I've got is drink for graphical representations of computer systems or programs.
Oh, yes, very much so. There's that, obviously. I also had drink every time the contents of a computer screen is illuminated back onto the user's face.
Oh, yeah.
That's also classic 90s.
Where did that come from?
It's not just this film. I remember that distinctly. I don't think The Net did it? Not excessively.
So.
I always remember that as well from Batman and Robin, though.
I remember it from Alien as well.
Yeah. It's a trip. Again, it's trying desperately to make person sitting at a computer remotely visually interesting.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Yeah, but the way they visualize those programs is never not funny.
Yeah.
I had a drink for SWAT teams. There are many SWAT team scenes just bursting into people's houses like through windows.
My favorite one was where one of the guys, he's having a dream. There's a lot of dreams in this. So drink for dreams.
Oh god, yeah, the dream sequence. We forgot about those.
But there's the one guy who's having a dream that like the SWAT team comes in and gets him or whatever, like gets him out of bed, and then he wakes up and the SWAT team comes and gets him out of bed, and he just goes deja vu.
Yeah. Yeah, this film's got a really like quirky, wacky sense of humor. I kind of liked it. I dug it. Like.
Yeah, drink for dreams.
Drink for dream sequences, yeah. Mm-hmm. Drink for casual rollerblading.
Oh, yeah.
It's a constant indoor, outdoor, every character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Drink for maths equations.
Ooh, okay, yeah.
It's whenever they're just on the screen just to show that, like, hey, someone's doing computers, here's maths.
Yeah, here's algebra, yeah.
Yeah. Because they're definitely related to this.
Sure. I'd drink for rave music.
Yeah.
You know, this movie has no sequels, but it had 3 soundtracks.
Did it?
Yeah, because The soundtrack it's all like 90s rave music, obviously, and there's a lot of the songs are by the Prodigy, but before the Prodigy became like the Prodigy, like before they did like Firestarter and all their big hits kind of thing. So yeah, it's a very kind of cool, famous soundtrack. So the soundtrack was more successful than the film, and so they released like another 2 like music inspired by Hackers soundtracks. So
Nice.
yeah, but this film is like. It's like being in a nightclub from start to finish, in a very specific kind of nightclub in the 90s.
Yeah.
But just like the whole film is just like douche to 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 wow. You know, it's a lot.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Drink for just, if you think about it, they're all really bad nicknames.
Yeah. Do you mean like acid?
The handles and stuff.
The handles, acid burn,
Yeah.
and serial killer, and
Yeah, apart from the Plague.
You like the Plague?
Yeah,
That's okay.
Well, I liked Mr. the Plague.
Mr. the Plague. Yeah, you've got to formalize it. Sure. Yeah. Okay. This is kind of the same as the one you did about how the internet is displayed, but I put drink every time somebody enters cyberspace.
Sure.
You know what I mean? When someone's using a computer, it seems like when they use the computer when they're mid-hack, it's like they enter the matrix. Like they really go into it. It's like they could enter this kind of meditative state, and suddenly we see them like their mind becomes one with the computer, and it's traveling through cyberspace. And I am the Eggman, Cuckoo Couture, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So I always find that pretty funny.
Drink for Coca-Cola.
Oh yes.
Did you
Very
notice
clear
a lot of
product. Yeah, the product placement was nuts.
My favorite one was just for no reason in a scene, someone's just sat at a chair talking, and then behind them somebody just puts a Coke in.
Yeah,
in
it's Lorraine
shot.
Bracco. Yeah,
the hand just comes in like off camera, and it's just a Coke, and then the camera just goes away.
Yeah, it turns the Coke towards the screen. It's hilarious.
Like there's literally no reason for it.
Yeah. Yeah, it was like they started shooting like shit. We forgot the Coke. Just put it in. We're not going to make you do it again. So just someone put it in. Yeah. Yeah, Coca-Cola's certainly got their money's worth from this film. Drink for meaningless jargon.
Sure. Yeah.
Or people complaining about meaningless jargon.
Absolutely. Yeah. Drink for closet cases.
However do you mean?
Well, I'm not sure if this was just the 90s or if everybody in this was kind of gay.
I feel like everybody was like pansexual, you know, gender ambiguous, like the way they were dressed, and like I couldn't tell because it was weird. I was watching the Puerto Rican kid in this. I didn't actually twig it was the same kid from Con Air.
Yeah.
And obviously he's not being like that because that film was insane. But I was like, wow, I'm getting a very gay vibe from this guy. And I wonder if
me
that's,
too.
I was like, is that intentional? Is this like a character trait, or is that like who the actor is? And I don't know. The actor might be straight as a die. I've got no idea. But then when I saw it was the same guy who was like very flamboyant in Con Air, I was like, oh, makes sense. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I didn't really.
I was definitely getting a lot of LGBT vibes from a lot of the characters in this.
No, I don't necessarily know if I agree in terms of the characters' interactions with each other, but I think like the styling choices were very like
more on that
metrosexual. I would say if that's what they used to call it. Yeah,
sure.
So, yeah. Drink for wigs.
Drink for fantastic outfits.
Drink for amazing haircuts. Drink for confusing outfits.
Yeah.
There was one outfit that Jonny Lee Miller wore for quite a long time in this movie where he was wearing a parachute without the parachute. Like he was dressed to jump out of a plane, so he had like very baggy, sweaty kind of clothes, like day glow neon kind of tracksuits and a big heavy top, and then he also had just random straps hanging down as if the straps that you would attach to a parachute, just like hanging around his bum the whole time. I was like, what's that for? What purpose does that serve?
Fashion, John.
I don't remember that being a thing. Maybe it was. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So drink for confusing fashion, and of course everything Matthew Lillard is wearing, and his now very unacceptable white dreadlocks, all that.
They weren't dreads, they were plaits.
Were they plaits? Oh, okay, fine.
Drink for 90s tech.
90s tech, sure.
Yeah. There's a lot of payphones in this.
Oh, yeah.
And apparently payphones are just the gateway to the world.
Well, yeah, I love that. I think that is a genuine thing that hacking, the first thing that they used it for, which is, was to get free long distance phone calls. You could hack into phones when you had to use like pay phones. So... yeah, there's lots of stuff around that, how they're going to hack into phones and get these free long-distance calls. Yeah,
I liked the virtual reality goggles that they had at different times.
Yeah, what did they do?
I don't know, like games and stuff? I'm not too sure. But yeah, VR in the 90s must have been something else.
I think it was like the idea of what VR could become was just... I guess Tron did this as well. It was like, very early ideas of what that was going to be. And we're still not really there 20, 30 years later, are we really? No. I know VR's come a long way, but it's still not really... where people thought it would be, but people really think we were all going to be like strapped into these crazy wired systems and just be going like ha yeah, and just just playing these crazy games. Yeah, which we don't really do. No, but yeah, it's funny.
Come on. Let's go. Right away, huh?
What the hell are you doing? Blake! Blake!
Gil.
I think we got something.
Hard copy.
That's all I got.
Yeah, I think that was all I had as well.
Okay, so listeners, if you would like some more drinking games, maybe you want some more sequel ideas when we start, and some more listener submissions, you can go to patreon.com/beyondtheboxset, where you can subscribe to us for as much or as little as you want, and you can get the extended version of this very episode or any other episode in our catalogue. You can also have a bonus show called Beyond the Box Set, where we review our recent releases.
Yeah, we've just had our first ever trip back to the cinema in about 6 months. We saw A Quiet Place Part 2. Was it worth the wait? Find out.
Yeah, so that'll be coming up on the feed shortly. Might be there already by now, who knows. And you can also have a 30-second advert slot right here on the main show, where you can talk about whatever you want, your own podcast, your own business. The time is yours to spend. All that is available at patreon.com/beyondtheboxset.
Indeed.
Bonjour tout le monde, I'm Finn, and every Tuesday I host a podcast called Passport People, in which I talk to people from around the world about the places that matter to them. What is so special about each location? What makes each place tick? Where are they headed? To join us on our round-the-world trip, talking to a diverse range of fascinating people from an incredible variety of professional and cultural backgrounds, search for Passport People in Spotify, iTunes, or wherever you get your podcasts.
John, do you want to go first?
I can do if you want, yeah. So I'll tell you the title of my sequel after I've gone into it a little bit, because the title kind of gives away the direction I'm going into. This kind of came to me very quickly. Like, sometimes it's a bit of a struggle. Well, the idea came quickly, then I fleshing it out. It's still pretty thin. I've not done loads, but basically there was one shot in this film that immediately just sparked something in my head, and I was like, that's what I want to do.
Right.
So basically this initially picks up shortly after the events of the original film. So they've just foiled the bad guys, they've brought down the plague, and the original gang, so Matthew Lillard, Angelina Jolie, Jonny Lee Miller, and Joey, who the actor's name I can't remember, but the four of them, they graduate from high school, college, whatever that was, and they set up their own cybersecurity company.
Sure.
You know, they decide to monetize their hacking ability and go mainstream, go legit. And they become highly in demand for their innovative, hacking abilities. They're very much, at the head of the curve at all times. But they're very selective about who they work with, because they still think of themselves as being like, they're cool underground kids. They don't want to like sell out and work for the man. So they'll only work for really interesting projects, and they're very choosy about what they're going to do. And then one day they're approached by a mysterious multimillionaire with a top secret proposal. He's building the world's first theme park to feature live dinosaurs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
And he needs a very sophisticated security system to ensure that the park remains safe and manageable.
Okay, yeah.
So you probably guessed Jurassic Park, right?
Sure, yeah.
And yeah, it was because the sequences in which they showed them like surfing through the cyberspace thing, it all looked very similar to Jurassic Park. You know, when the blonde girl in Jurassic Park, she's like, I'm a hacker. And that line also,
No, I don't know Jurassic Park very well.
Well, you're going to have to go with me on this. So in Jurassic Park, it's such a famous film.
That was such a,
I built this whole thing.
Little girl in a strap.
I built this whole sequel around like familiarity with Jurassic Park, like one of the most famous watched movies of all time. I've not seen it. Right?
I've seen it.
Okay, fine.
Only like once or twice. Okay. I'll go with it.
Okay, you don't really need to know that much. So in Jurassic Park, if you remember, there is a little blonde girl who's like Richard Attenborough's niece or granddaughter or something.
Yeah.
And I'm a hacker. She says that in the film, which also, it's a line that always sticks in my head as a ridiculous 90s line. But there's the whole plot line where she is, in fact, a hacker. And when the whole Jurassic Park systems go down, she hacks into the system.
Yeah.
And she has to go through like gate by gate, system by system to kind of reactivate everything. And she does it by navigating through this very comical system of like towers and blocks and cyberspace kind of things. And it looked very similar to the way cyberspace was depicted in this film. So when I saw that, I was like, oh, great. what if these kids designed Jurassic Park and they built that security system? That'd be great.
Yeah.
So that's basically where I've gone with this sequel, is that the kids from Hackers graduate and then get enlisted to actually build the online security system at Jurassic Park. Okay. So that's where I'm at with it. The four of them, they agree. He's offering them big money that they can't really have turned down. And also they can't resist the challenge. This is like a very cool project. This is, completely groundbreaking, and they're on board with it. So in effect, our four heroes, they developed, and this is the original Jurassic Park movie from 1990, whatever. Probably earlier than this film, but we're just going to play around with timelines.
I think it was 93, actually.
Well, we're going to play around with some timelines. I don't care.
Okay.
Yeah. So they effectively build the security system for the original Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
However, while they're doing it, like before the park fully opens to the public, while they're doing the design work, Angelina Jolie and Jonny Lee Miller, Dade and Kate, they start to have serious doubts about the ethics behind what they're doing. They realize that however sophisticated the system they produce, they can never make it 100% secure.
Yeah.
Because they know how anyone who can hack into a system, there's always a way to hack in and override the system. And they're like, you know what? We're not just dealing with like money here. We're dealing with giant giant killer, very destructive creatures. We're playing God with them, and also there's no way to say that they won't one day escape and just eat a bunch of people.
Yeah.
And so they decide that as good as their programming is, they can never be completely confident that they're going to be able to create a completely safe park. And so they decide to pull out.
Sure.
But they're already quite advanced in the park's pretty much built at this place. So they come to this decision very late in the game. So that, you know what, we can't continue with this in good conscience. So we're out, we're leaving. But because of the contracts they're under, the Jurassic Park owners already own all of their technology, so they can't take it with them. So they can't stop the park from opening. All they can do is walk away. Also, the other two, serial killer Matthew Lillard and Joey, they have no such concerns, and they're happy to just take the big bucks. So they stay on and help to finish the park, basically.
Yeah.
So they keep on to finish the design, and Angelina Jolie, Jonny Lee Miller, they leave, never look back. They leave Jurassic Park. And so I think Joey, the kid, he gets promoted once they're gone to be the head of cybersecurity for Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
So he gets set up, and he sets up all the systems, and he also gets very addicted to, because he in the original film Hackers, he has like this very addictive personality. The random scene where he's at some kind of Alcoholics Anonymous or Addicts Anonymous thing, and he's like, I'm not an addict, more coffee, more cigarettes. He's just like chain smoking and drinking coffee. So I'm thinking in this film, in this sequel, his addiction gets sublimated onto the snack machines in Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
So he puts on a whole lot of weight. Okay. And basically the reason I'm saying that is that he turns into the fat guy from Jurassic Park.
Oh,
do you remember him?
Yeah.
Because he's like the computer nerd.
What's his face? Newman from
Seinfeld. Yeah. He turns into him, basically.
Got it. Yeah. That adds up.
Yeah. So he then obviously ends up with his own evil scheme to try and like escape with all the dinosaurs, ends up getting eaten by dinosaurs. All the stuff that happens in Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
That's just to kind of write him out, basically.
Yeah.
So he's gone. So yeah, cut to 20 years later. Obviously, Jurassic Park was a disaster. Many people died. And Dade and Kate, they're completely out of the industry now. They've left the cyber industry behind them. After Jurassic Park became this notorious tragedy, this big disaster, it kind of destroyed their reputations forever, because even though they left, they still designed the security system that failed.
Yeah, got it.
So their reputations are just completely gone. And they're also racked with guilt for all the death and destruction that they weren't able to prevent. But they're slowly trying to, it's been 20 years, they're trying to move on with their lives. So they've kind of left all that behind them, and they've started new lives. Maybe they've got a few kids, who knows? They've started new lives now. But out of nowhere, 20 odd years later, they're contacted by Matthew Lillard, who stayed on at the park but managed to escape. He wasn't eaten by dinosaurs, so he managed to escape the original park. And he's representing the new franchise that's bought out the Jurassic Park from the previous owners, because like Richard Attenborough is dead.
Sure, yeah.
And so the company that developed Jurassic Park has now been like bought out by a second company, and they're now creating a bigger, better version known as Jurassic World.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Again, this is all pulled from the plot of Jurassic World, where another company kind of swooped in and took all the franchise and built a new version. So yeah, and Matthew Lillard is kind of helping them to set this up. And he needs their help, because what they're essentially doing is replicating a lot of the old data from the original park for the new one, and just kind of bringing it up to code, up to speed. But they're kind of cutting a lot of corners because they're just more focused on the profits. So they're essentially replicating all the old data for the new park, and they need the original creators to help them to kind of crack the code and get into the system. And Matthew Lillard can't do it alone, so he needs Kate and Jonny Lee Miller to step back into the breach and help him to set up the security systems once again. And they're like, absolutely not. We're not going anywhere near this. It was bad enough the first time. No. But he manages to kind of guilt trip them by saying, look, it's going to happen one way or another. They've already got all the systems. The park is being built. It's all happening. It's not going to stop. So you can either stay away from it and then people might get killed, or you can join up and try and keep it safe with me.
Yeah.
And yeah, like if you two get involved, maybe we can actually make a system that works. If you don't, probably something will go wrong and people are going to get killed.
Yeah.
So he guilt trips them, and because they are so guilt-ridden from the original, they reluctantly agree. So they start working then for Jurassic World.
Okay.
Also, they're probably broke. They've not worked for a while, so they need the money. They've got their reasons. And so that now they're all working for cybersecurity at Jurassic World. But they very quickly realize that once again, they've made a huge mistake because the park is completely corrupt. And in fact, the government are using it as a front to create weaponized velociraptors. Remember that plot from Jurassic World?
Yeah.
But they can't walk away because, they're so worried about what might happen. And also they're under these very restrictive contracts. So all they can do is try and keep everything as safe as they possibly can, while also trying to figure out a way to destroy the company from the inside with a hack or something, without unleashing all the dinosaurs.
Yeah.
So, but while they're trying to do that, of course, everything goes tits up again, as in the plot of Jurassic World.
Yeah.
So then I just thought, and this is kind of the end of my idea, but I just thought that maybe you could have like a side move. This sequel to Hackers exists inside the film Jurassic World. Just like while Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard are all off on their nonsense. Like there's a second plot with because Angelina Jolie would be great in a Jurassic Park movie. Like she's very athletic and very action star. So it could be like the two of them and Matthew Lillard and all these other characters.
I was wondering, is there a way that like, because it all goes wrong in the first Jurassic World, is there a way that we could reveal that like Angelina Jolie and Jonny Lee Miller, they set off the volcano that happens in the second Jurassic World film that destroys the island?
Oh, you know what? I forgot about that. But that could be their way of finally, getting it.
Sort of like having closure with
trying to finish the whole thing off, just like we need to end all this now.
Yeah, just like kill all the dinosaurs, destroy the island, it'll all be gone. It's a volcano, it's simple, it's done. And then, we can all just go home and forget about the whole thing.
That's a great idea. So, all the chaos that's happening in the Jurassic World movie, this is a separate film, which is all about like the cybersecurity team at Jurassic World, also fighting for survival.
Yeah.
Some are going to get eaten, some are not, but Angelina Jolie and Jonny Lee Miller are obviously going to survive. And maybe it ends. They hack into the mainframe and they realize that not only are the security gates part of the mainframe, also the volcano is being managed by them. So the only thing they can do is destroy.
Maybe they've been like suppressing it. So, like, suppressing the volcano from happening. So they don't cause it, they just stop not causing it, if that makes sense.
Or maybe they like wait until they know all the surviving humans have been evacuated and then they're like, right, that's it, set it off.
Yeah.
And before anyone can stop them, they start a volcano that erupts and destroys Jurassic World.
Yeah.
Although as we see from the multiple sequels since, there's no stopping those dinosaurs.
It's not worked. No.
But they've done their best.
Life finds a way.
Life finds a way.
Is that from that?
Yeah, that's from the original. That's the thing that Jeff Goldblum says when the dinosaurs make babies. Yeah.
Cool.
So ultimately they set off the volcano, they escape from Jurassic World, and they vow to never again touch a computer, and they both become like hippies. They decide to become full, like, living off the earth hippies.
Right, sure.
And just they will have no part of this ever again.
Nice.
So they come full circle. And that's Hackers 2, Hold On To Your Butts. It's just another line from Jurassic Park.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
I think that would have worked better if you had more familiarity with Jurassic Park, but I did my best.
Probably, yeah. Cool. No, that was good.
Thank you.
I enjoyed it. Okay, I've got 3 ideas. We'll see what we can do with them.
Okay.
First of all, the one with the best title is called Hackers 2, FBI's Most Wanted.
FBI's Most Wanted, okay.
So, as previously threatened by the FBI, they all got kicked out of high school.
Okay.
And they all get, like, blacklisted by colleges and stuff. So, like, because they're all, hackers and go and get the FBI's rules and whatever, they're not going to get into college or whatever.
Okay.
Turns out none of them need it.
Oh, of course not.
Because, like...
They're super smart.
They've all been incredible hackers since the age of, like, 10.
Yeah, they're magic.
They're fine. They'll be fine without uni. They didn't even want to go.
Is this a thinly veiled anti-university thing?
Maybe. So, the FBI have really tried to screw them over, but joke's on the FBI, because in a few years, computers only become more mainstream.
Sure.
They are everywhere, and cyber terrorism is on the rise. And so now the FBI, they need more hackers working for them, and who do they have to turn to? The same people they kicked out of college.
So they have the tables have turned.
Yeah. So that is why they are the FBI's most wanted. Hackers 2, the FBI's most wanted.
So they're the most wanted, not criminals.
No, I said like the most wanted for a job.
Okay, so they're trying. Are we going to make? Because it sounds like a the title sounds like a procedural, like a NCIS or what are those shows called that are on forever in America? You know, those police dramas like
the Gary Sinise stuff?
Law and Order, that kind of stuff.
Oh,
Yeah. So it could be like that, like Angelina Jolie and Jonny Lee Miller set up a cybersecurity, FBI department, and they're like they're running it together with a ragtag team, and every week they solve a new cyber mystery.
That totally works. Yeah,
that could be a show.
Yeah,
probably is a show somewhere.
Yeah, true. But yeah, so I'd like to see those guys working for the FBI in some form like that, but then also to see how this world of like insane computers just evolves over a few years.
Sure.
Because like it's basically the world of Tron.
Yeah.
Inside the computer. So what does that look like over the coming years with like cyber terrorism and stuff like that?
Oh, so do you want to because obviously this film has a crazy warped magical vision of what the internet actually would have looked like. Do you want to continue that? So take it to like the present day and like, okay, what do we think the internet's going to look like 30 years from now? But let's make it as insane as we possibly can.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
because I feel like that's faded out a little bit. I feel like we've stopped imagining like what other possibilities the internet's going to have.
Yeah. Well, I think we're kind of getting to the conclusion of the darkest timeline of the internet.
Yeah, exactly.
Like everybody, all companies know everything about you.
True. Yeah.
And what more is there other than internet controlling us? Which
has been movies, obviously. But yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. So yeah, that was that. I've also I've done a prequel.
Okay.
Diary of a Wimpy Hacker.
Diary of a Wimpy Hacker. Okay.
And by I've done a prequel, I just, I'll just read out what I've written down here, and you'll see if you can make anything out of it.
Okay.
I said, why did he take down all those computers, including Wall Street? Was there money involved? Is he rich? Was he trying to get someone rich or make someone poor? Was it revenge? Or maybe he was acting out because of a dodgy parental situation. Maybe his dad was a Wall Street banker and he was up to some crazy shit. Or maybe the villain, not Gary Oldman, was his dad. Did he have a dad? I don't
we
know.
never saw his dad.
Maybe the dads of his bullies were Wall Street guys and he wanted to get them back for that or something.
Okay, so looking at why that 11-year-old boy, apart from the fact that he's magical, why young Jonny Lee Miller suddenly became an 11-year-old hacker in the 80s when computers were even more like prehistoric.
Yeah. So, I mean, that was just a stream of thought that
that was your stream of consciousness. Yeah, thanks for that.
But I think the best thing that I want to settle on is either something to do with his dad, like what's going on there. Where is his dad? Is he anybody of note?
I like it. Doesn't quite
maybe make it a revenge thing for like some Wall Street dickheads. Let's try and crash Wall Street and piss them off.
I mean, he does confront Jonny Lee Miller later in the film, and it's not like a moment of like dad, son, like. So, but I love the idea that
it's been so long.
Yeah, I love the idea that that the plague is his dad. Yeah,
that's where he got his skateboarding skills from.
Yeah, his skateboarding and his hacking skills. His dad is like an early computer programmer who teaches him everything he knows, then disappears. Or maybe the plague is his uncle.
Okay,
and his dad was like a good computer hacker, but one of the best. And maybe the plague stole all his ideas and used them for evil, and then bumped him off.
That works.
Yeah.
So evil dad kills off the uncle.
No.
Evil uncle kills off the dad.
Evil uncle kills off the dad. Yeah, leaves the son. Leaves the son traumatized. The son tries to fight his dad for his dad's memory by hacking into Wall Street and bringing down all the bigwigs. I don't know. There's something there. Yeah.
Got it. Yeah, and would like take away that guy's money. So maybe it's like taking all the good ideas from the dad or whatever. The evil uncle was like invested in stuff and crashing Wall Street just removed all that money from him.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, something. You know what else I noticed in that first scene? When the kid's in court, and it's very funny because it's like a judge being like, it kind of does this like pan across all the adults, and then it just pans down to this little kid, just like Damien from the Omen or something, just like looking very evil while he gets, while he gets found guilty of cyber terrorism. His mum's wearing a really inappropriately jaunty hat. She's wearing like a little beret, like while her son's like potentially being sent to prison.
She's just trying to entertain him.
It just tickled me. It just seemed like a very inappropriate hat for that.
Might be the last time she sees him for 10 years. Wants to make it memorable.
Okay, fair enough. It just tickled me. I just enjoyed.
I don't know.
Yeah. Cool. What's your third idea then?
So the last one, I've not got a title for it, but we'll see. The main character gets sucked into a computer, Tron style.
Okay.
All the programs or characters are his hacker friends.
Okay.
So it's just like Angelina Jolie is this one, and
what are they all there in person now, or are they still just like usernames?
They're all the programs that those hackers created.
Okay.
So like, hey, I'm the one who deletes other programs or whatever. Or
This sounds like something else. Isn't this what?
it's basically Tron.
Oh, it's trying to get. Is this not what Ready Player One was as well? Or am I misunderstanding what you're going for here?
It's not quite Ready Player One. Anyway, whatever. Initially, this world is all circuit boards that look like roads and ships that look like buildings, like you know what you've seen.
Yeah.
But every now and then, a human user on the outside will start doing some developing, and the whole world of programs gets attacked and changed by loads of flying mathematical equations.
Oh, so they're trapped in this.
Yeah, and so like all these weird graphics that we saw on screen in this film, that's all this world. And like
but every now and again they'll like
it's like it's a math storm. Ah,
yeah. Oh, so whenever someone like clears the hard drive, everything gets deleted. It's like shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when there's an upgrade, it's like there's good benefits, but there's a lot of chaos in the meantime. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe that sort of thing.
I like that. Yeah, like living inside the computer.
Basically doing Tron again, but just making it much more, a bit more like reactive to how computers actually are.
It kind of sounds like Tron mixed with Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Yeah, yeah. That's a good way to do it. Yeah.
Okay, I like that. Yeah, I can see that.
So yeah, that's that. It's only a small idea. Not got a title for it, but yeah.
Honey, I Broke the Internet.
Nice.
There you go.
Nice. Yeah, that works definitely. So yeah, that's them.
Very good. Okay, should we move on to listener submissions?
Yeah.
Cool. We had a handful this week, not too many. Liminal Hill said they hack Jeff Bezos' spaceship so it never returns. The end.
Cool.
I think that's topical because Jeff Bezos has recently been talking about going to space, hasn't he? So yeah. Chris Allen said Quackers, the same movie but they're all ducks. Sure. I love that idea, just the visual, because they're still hackers but they're ducks.
Nice, yeah.
So I love
is it in a duck world or is it just the ducks that are?
I just feel like it's just super smart ducks because I'm really visualizing. Because obviously ducks don't have fingers to type, so they're just like using their bills to like very quickly, speedily tap out all the code and stuff.
4 ducks per keyboard.
Yeah, exactly. They have to really work. The importance of teamwork is even more so now because they really they've only got 1 bill each. So, so I like that. Yeah. Connor Crehan said it's about Russian hackers interfering with foreign elections. Very topical, and it's called Hackers, but the R is backwards in the style of a Russian R.
Sure.
Yeah. Ben Hebert said. Frakers, it's about a bunch of nerds who spent their teenage years in the 90s getting free calls on payphones, but now they're middle-aged and their skills are obsolete. Until one day, when the entire internet goes down, and the president calls them in for help in getting the analog phone systems back online again to handle the new workload. So I like that. It's like the current, all the new technology crashes and all these experts in like out-of-date, defunct technology have to come back in and their technology will now save the day. Very good, yep. Andrew Gold said, backers, all the squad are now multimillionaires and they use their tech money to fund politicians, subvert governments, and to pay no taxes. It's basically a documentary.
Oh, yeah.
And finally, Brian Makowski said, hecklers, middle-aged, overweight, and out of touch, the hacker gang resorts to being internet trolls.
Nice.
They're heckling people online.
Yeah.
So.
Right.
So thank you, everybody, for those sequel ideas. We ask for your listener submissions every week, a few days before we record, by putting posts out on Facebook and Twitter where you can post your ideas. So make sure you like and follow our pages if you don't want to miss out. To listen to more episodes of Beyond the Box Set, you can subscribe and browse our back catalogue on any podcasting platform, including Apple, Spotify, Google Play, and many others, all of which you can also leave a 5-star review if you so wish. You can also support us on Patreon for as much or as little as you think we're worth to get all the bonus features we've discussed already on the show. You can find all those links in the description below or at beyondtheboxset.com. And next week, Harry, it's a me pick.
Sure.
And I thought I'm not going to do another movie about the internet because I feel like we'll probably start retreading. It's one of those things that if you do too many, it's going to start getting quite repetitive. But I do like this little run of weird 90s oddness that we've gone into. So I thought I might stick with that for the time being. Just for one more week. You can move on next week if you want. So I'm going to do a movie I've not actually seen, but I'm confident it won't be boring. It's not like another You Can Count on Me moment. It's quite a well-known film. It's a bit of a surreal film. It got Brad Pitt his first ever Oscar nomination. Also got Bruce Willis in it. It's called 12 Monkeys.
Okay, I've heard of it, but I don't know it.
Same, I've heard good things but never seen it. So and I know it's like 90s and quite surreal. Yeah. So we'll give it a go.
Okay.
So join us next week, listeners, for 12 Monkeys.
Yeah, that'll be great. All right, thank you everybody for listening. See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
My name is the Plague.